Hello and welcome back to another season at the Stage Door, presented by Canberra Arts on Rogers TV, right here in Corner Brook. It's a real treat. We have a great season planned. Of course, lots coming up from Canberra Arts and from outside of Canberra Arts, but all here on the west coast of Newfoundland. So right now I'm here with Dr. Sehee Lee and Elizabeth Janzen. Canberra Arts is actually presenting these two incredible musicians Friday, October 3rd. It's coming up pretty quick. We'll talk a little bit about that program and what you can expect. Tickets are still available from Canberra Arts, either on the website or you could call the box office or come to the door at 110 Humber Road. But before that, we're going to talk about where it all began. So Liz, we'll start with you. You've been in the music industry for some time, and that's taken you to Texas for the past number of years
13
now.
years? 13
Yeah.
years.
So where did it all start, though?
Well, it started here in Corner Brook, of course. So I grew up here in Corner Brook. I went to C.C. Laughlin, and I went to Herdman Collegiate. I know it's not Herdman anymore, but I remember it as Herdman. I studied piano and voice for a little while. Piano the whole time, a little bit of voice with Gary Graham, and I studied flute with Vicki Crocker, and I studied recorder with Alison McHugh. That was how I got really started, and I just, thanks to the community here in Corner Brook, I got more and more heavily involved in music and decided I wanted to keep that as part of my life, and so I went on to study flute performance at the University of Toronto, and then continued my education at the Manhattan School of Music in New York City, and worked in freelance there for over a decade before moving to Texas. And there I'm serving as the flute professor at Texas A&M Kingsville, and this year I'm also serving as the interim director of the School of Music. Wow, well, congratulations on that position to step into that administrative capacity is always an interesting... I don't know if you should congratulate or commiserate with me, but there you have it. It's always the interesting part of the journey, right? There's a lot beyond the performance. As we say on this show, the show is the tip of the iceberg when it comes to things. There's so much behind the scenes, whether that's grant applications, the rehearsal process, the design, composition, as we'll see in this upcoming show. So that's, what we love to dive into and talk about. So Sehee, where did it begin for you as a musician?
I'm originally from South Korea, and then came to the States after my master's in piano performance degree, and then I had a job as the general music teacher in the junior high school. And then I came to States to study more for the collaborative piano program. So I did my master's and doctorate in the States, and then got a job like 13 years ago in Texas. Yeah, that was my first time to go to Texas. Now I've been there 13 years. And then
wow.
Yeah, I believe we started in the same year, right?
Yeah, we started at the same time.
Yeah. That's wonderful. Certainly a big difference to go from junior high music to teaching at a program for university musicians.
Yeah. So since we hired together, I don't remember when we really started play together, but yeah, we hang out a lot, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then found out that she loves wine and soju, and then she's even better than with spice food. Even with
there we go.
Garlic, lots of garlic.
Oh yeah.
And then we played together. So many times and all the time, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, we try to play together as much as possible. So yeah, it was really fortuitous to meet someone with whom we connected so easily. We both love to travel, and we both love to eat and try new foods and things like that. So traveling as a team has been really easy. There aren't too many people you can sit in a car with for 7 hours driving across Newfoundland.
It's not easy.
And that went very smoothly. So we've been really lucky to be able to work and travel together.
Well, it seems certainly fortunate that you both started at the same time. That's a great coincidence, but perhaps it's also what helped you both connect as the kind of newcomers to that school and that program. But to spend 13 years there, you know, it certainly must be a great gift to be able to have that space, you know, and to be able to take some of that work home and bring a colleague home to Newfoundland, and not only Newfoundland but the West Coast, is really spectacular. And I think that's an amazing thing that Canberra Arts has seen and been involved in, has been recently bringing folks home. You know, Newfoundland's one of those places you leave, everyone always wants to come back, so it's a real privilege to do that with our musicians and our artists, to bring them back in different ways. So we'll talk a little bit now about this program. It's all around water, and water in its different forms. And I think it's very interesting because actually this Sunday, the 28th of September, we presented Heather Tuock and Yoko Misumi, and they are currently in the process of recording a new album that's all about landscapes.
Oh, interesting.
So they played a little bit of landscape music, and I was like, man, I wish I knew more about that to promote both of these amazing things. And this is water. So what inspired that? And particularly, what do you think inspires the flute to be with water?
Well, actually, this program was initially inspired by, if you don't mind me jumping ahead to Bern's piece, by a commissioning project that I did this past year. So I serve on a committee for the National Flute Association. I'm the co-chair of the Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Accessibility Committee, and we presented a recital in Atlanta in August.
Yes.
And the theme of that, the committee presented it, and the theme of it was about sounds of identity. Like, how do you, as an artist, as a musician, reflect your identity through your music? And some people might do it through composition, some people might do it through the selection of their repertoire, through different themes that are explored in the music. But I thought it would be really interesting to commission a piece that geographically linked where, who I was as a person, my early education as a musician here in Newfoundland, and then where I am now. And almost all of my life, I've lived along the Gulf Stream. I went from, I sidetracked to Toronto for a little bit, but I went from Newfoundland to New York, and now down in South Texas. We're right on the Gulf of Mexico, and that the just being aware of how that journey has been connected by this vital water source in or on a global scale. So I thought it would be interesting to find a piece that reflected that somehow. And Bern Kane and I had met as part of Grosse Moines Summer Music Festival and worked together a lot. And I reached out to him because I know that Newfoundland always held a really special place for him as well. And he was Welsh, and so he also shared that Northern Atlantic connection and the connection to the sea and the ocean here. And so I asked him if he would write something inspired by that. So the idea for this week's program really started with that piece, and it's called The Gulf Stream. The first movement is called The Rock, and the second movement is called The Coastal Bend, which is the area of the Gulf of Mexico where we live in Texas. And then I started thinking about water again, and there's many pieces in the flute repertoire that reflect that in some way, either the movement of a river or the atmosphere of deep underwater. And I started to reflect on different pieces that my students had performed recently, or music that I've played in my past. Of course, there's also, because I know that I want to work with Sehee, I want to think about repertoire that she will also find interesting as a pianist, because some flute repertoire is very flute forward, You know, the flutist is a soloist and the piano part is more supportive, but some flute repertoire is a true collaboration where both parts are equal. So in our program on Friday, we are going to close with the Undine Sonata by Reinecke, Carl Reinecke, who's a romantic composer. And it is a true sonata in that the piano part and the flute part are equal, and together they recreate this story of river nymphs that lured sailors to their death.
Wow.
But there's all sorts of kind of ripply sounds and lots of technical passages that recreate the movement of water in that way.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful, and I think it's a great thing to note that the term of accompaniment or accompanist has been shifted recently more so that to become collaborative pianist, because it is a collaboration. A vocalist and a pianist are collaborating. They're listening to each other and finding that intricacies. And for you folks with a 13-year history, I'm sure that comes more naturally than ever. You probably can anticipate when the next breath is going to be, even in early rehearsals, as you work that out, and I think that's such a gift, not only for you both, but for audiences to watch as well. I think it's a wonderful thing. Sehee, what would you say is one of your joys about playing piano with flute, those two instruments working together?
Of course, I played some repertoire with other flutists before I met her, but I learned and then found very interesting repertoire, and I didn't really know that there were like that much of flute repertoire could be. So we played so many different type of repertoire together, and then with some like electric bass sound by Jose.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
so
that
some
one.
pre-recorded with fixed media
yeah.
and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a previous commission that we both did.
Yeah.
Now I have really tons of very, very standard flute repertoire. On top of that, I'd like to say very rare repertoire for us, I think, yeah. So that was also a really big part, big joy for me to work with Liz all the time. She always found something very new and sometimes very crazy.
Sometimes she gets mad at me because she's like, another new piece? Why can't we play something that I already know? But no, the diversity of the flute repertoire is exciting.
Yes. It's very
And challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And this concert takes us from some more traditional repertoire into some much more modern pieces, and from pieces that are based on places, like Burns pieces, but also pieces based on the different states of water.
That's right.
And how it exists. So, I know that's a piece by an indigenous composer. So what is it like kind of feeling that and knowing its inspiration as you play it?
I think we do with Linscomb Black Horse's piece. That's what we're opening with, and he includes I believe it's Lakota Sioux that where he comes from, his traditions. And so he includes the indigenous title as well as the English translation, so that makes it a little easier for us. And I think that as artists, we're trying to recreate the atmosphere of that. So one of them is rippling water. So as we play, you're thinking, well, what does it feel like? What are the sounds when you're standing next to Corner Brook Stream on the trails and you're listening to that water? Maybe that's not so rippling. That's a little rushing. But how are you feeling as a human as you connect to that? And we were talking about that a lot when we were walking on the trail about the trees and connections to that in different cultures. And so it informs you in terms of the tempo that you might want to take, the dynamics that you want to take, the amount of rubato that you might want to use, because you're really trying to set the stage for the audience to connect to that vision alongside you.
Yeah, I think that's an amazing thing, not only for you as the artist, but for our audience to think and connect it. So before you see the show on Friday, October 3rd at 110 Humber Road, 7:30 p.m., you can walk by the water. You know, take a walk around the Corner Brook Stream Trail, sit by the pond, and tie your own experiences of water to these sounds of water that we'll hear then. I think that's a great project in the fall. It's the perfect time to come to Western Newfoundland as well. So good job on arranging your schedule accordingly.
She's already making plans to move here.
It's an amazing place in that way,
is,
you know, to walk that stream trail this time of year.
Gorgeous.
Is magical. There's no other way to put it, you know. I think it is a fascinating thing. So with that, we'll clue up this portion of the interview. Thank you so much, both of you, for coming onto the stage door. Looking forward to the show October 3rd at Canberra Arts, 110 Humber Road, and look forward to seeing you all there. We have a little teaser of that show from Elizabeth and Sehee, and after that we'll come back with a group of artists that are presenting Anton Chekhov's The Seagull at Margaret Bowater Park on October 4th and 5th. That's a matinee, so get ready to bundle up and see a free public theatre in the park here in Corner Brook.
Hello! I'm so excited to be coming home with my friend Sehee Lee for lessons and master classes and a performance next Friday at 7:30 p.m. at the convent. I hope you will all come out and join us for a performance of music all inspired by the sounds of water. See you then.
See you then. Thank you.
So you can be sure to see that The Sounds of Water. Get your tickets. It's on Canberra Arts website. Call the box office. Drop in. We'd love to see you Friday, October 3rd at 110 Humber Road. And now I'm here with Kate Sanders, who's working with Unknown Productions as they present Anton Chekhov's The Seagull in Margaret Bowater Park. This is a public show. Drop down to the park. They'll pass a hat around. I'm actually involved in this show as well. It's been a great treat to be able to do that. So Kate, welcome to the stage door. Thanks for dropping by.
Thank you for inviting me.
Before we talk about The Seagull, of course, you're home in Corner Brook. Another artist brought home, and brought home by Canberra Arts this summer.
Indeed.
So we're really showcasing our bringing home people. So Kate, we'll talk a little bit about you and what you've been up to, and what it's been like to be home working in the arts and presenting this, and then we'll talk about The Seagull, and then we'll be at time and we'll wrap things up.
Perfect. So I grew up in Corner Brook, if you don't know me. I did musical theater, some with the Graham Academy, some with community theater off Broadway, a little bit of everything. I caught the bug, you could say. So pursued musical theater after high school, and then I finished my master's last September. Whew! Can't believe it's been a year, but I did my master's in acting at the Royal Birmingham Conservatoire over in the UK. So I'm back in Corner Brook, my hometown, working for Canberra over the summer, and I've stuck around to do this project, and then I'm back over the pond, so back in England.
Quick transitions between
Indeed.
Very different places, I'm sure. Similarities abound, but yeah. So this production, you know, it's been in development mostly in September, a little trickling start in August for rehearsals, and features a pretty big cast as well, you know. So what drew you to choose, and I know it's not just you, but you are one of the production team, The Seagull to present?
Well, quite simply, it's been one of my favorite plays, maybe my favorite play, since I think in my first year of my undergrad, I bought a book of Chekhov's plays and worked through them, and The Seagull really stood out to me. Definitely resonated, and I've always wanted to do it. since then. And spending a night with a bunch of friends who had worked together for a CB Nui project, and then the play came up, and we just kind of looked around and went, wait, you would be great in this. You would be great in this. Oh, we have a stage manager. Okay, who can we call? And that was probably early July, I'd say. And then we just started asking around, pulling people we knew, like, are you interested? And it happened. I can't believe it, but we're doing it.
Here we are. And, I think that is Corner Brook. That is the arts community in Corner Brook. That is precisely what this place has. It does have a magic for that, and it's worth noting that the bulk of the company are professional performers.
Yeah, I think it speaks to, of course, the sense of community that we have here, but also I think the power of the story, and so many actors and theater people really love Chekhov's plays that for the vast majority it wasn't a hard sell.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It is, and we were just speaking here with Gian, our producer here at Rogers, and speaking on Chekhov in South America is reviewed as a Shakespearean level, above Shakespeare in many ways in terms of the knowledge of these plays. And I think they've been done many times in Corner Brook. Three Sisters has been done a number of times at Grenfell with the theatre program, but the Cherry Orchard and Uncle Vanya have been done as well. And they are beautiful stories. They are naturalists. They are in a space. We get to see these people live their little lives, and how every life has impact on each other, and it is a special thing doing Chekhov. Wordy at times, but
wordy,
the words
indeed.
do matter. Trigorin is very wordy, but he's a writer, so of course he is. Everything is visual in that way. So why did you decide to do this as a Chekhov in the park? We hear Shakespeare in the park a lot, but Chekhov in the park a little less, and it's free. So what drew you to that outdoor space at Bowater to do this show?
I think, well, first of all, the seagull, it seems such a natural fit for Corner Brook because we have so many seagulls. And it takes place just outside of Moscow on this lake, this big estate for this sort of wealthy family. And there's a lot of talk about nature in the play and growing up beside this lake and feeling like you're a part of it. And I think that's another thing that resonated with me. I grew up in a slightly bigger town than in this play, but growing up for me by the ocean. And I mean, I could talk for hours about just the love of the ocean and the water and being there. And I think doing the play outside, though we're not right on the ocean, we're right next to the beautiful river, the Corner Brook stream, and you can hear the wind whistling in the trees, and it all sort of adds and is sort of immersive. It's not an immersive production, but those elements that really kind of put you in that space. And I hope that between the sort of everyone kind of huddling up, maybe in the cold, and it seems like we'll have beautiful leaves, and I think that just adds to the sort of magic of the story.
Yeah, well, it's certainly been a joy to be a part of, and I think doing it in the public is a great thing because, yes, we will have some people who know the show is happening and attend, and there will be others that walk by and see a part of it. They'll stop and watch and carry on. But they saw something. They saw some theater. They saw a moment in time, and that's what Chekhov's all about. It's all moments. And I think that's the joy of presenting it, is you get to see moments of lives. I think better than many writers do that.
I'd
feel like
agree.
you're looking through a window and catching these characters that have full lives for a couple hours of those full lives, but it feels very full.
Yes, very rarely do you watch a play, a movie, or a TV show where every character is multifaceted. No one is completely right, no one is completely wrong. Everyone's deeply flawed, likely a little selfish, and there's a lot of humor in that.
Yeah.
Everyone sort of goes against their own better judgment in a very human way.
Absolutely. They are viewed as comedies. You know, these things have humor within these relatively tragic circumstances that often surround them. So I think it's a wonderful thing to see, wonderful thing to support all of these incredible artists that are involved. That's happening on Saturday and Sunday, October 4th and 5th at Margaret Bowater Park. It's in the afternoon at 3 o'clock.
2:30.
2:30, there we go. I'm in it and I didn't know. 2:30 p.m. In the afternoon at Margaret Bowater Park on the stage there, which is a wonderful thing. As we clue up, it is a busy weekend. The Sounds of Water is happening Friday, October 3rd at 110 Humber Road. We also have James Hurley is coming to the Arts and Culture Centre presenting an Irish poet songbook. That's happening on Sunday, October 5th in the evening. And then in the afternoon, October 4th and 5th at 2:30, free show. You know, pay what you can with a donation. That would be deeply appreciated to just cover cost and some of the labor. There's some beautiful costumes that Kate made as well. And that's the Seagull happening at Margaret Bowater Park. On behalf of Canberra Arts, I'm Ian Locke at the Stage Door, and I do want to take a moment to thank our gold level sponsors, Harbour Financial and White & George, for helping make this all possible. And I'll see you next week back here at the Stage Door on Rogers TV.